Well, hello everyone, this is Mohammad Badruddin and today we are going to solve another lab number 11 from SQL injection vulnerability. This is server side vulnerability and I'm taking this lab from Web Security Academy from Portswigger. So up to now we see union attacks where we see some kind of errors and some kind of results indicating that the particular feature or functionality is vulnerable to SQL injection vulnerability in the responses, right? But in blind SQL injection, we will not see any kind of error in the responses. So that's why it is known as blind SQL injection. And today we are going to start this topic of SQL injection vulnerability. So what is blind SQL injection? So blind SQL injection arises when an application is vulnerable to SQL injection, but in HTTP responses, it does not contain any result of the relevant SQL query or details of any database errors, as I mentioned before. So with blind SQL injection vulnerabilities, many techniques such as union attacks didn't work. So we need to use other techniques to find out whether the application is vulnerable to blind SQL injection or not. So we will see that in a minute. So exploiting blind SQL injection by triggering conditional response. This is the first technique to find out or to identify blind SQL injection vulnerability. And this technique known as triggering conditional responses. So here in blind SQL injection, you will not get any error that we got before in the previous labs, but the application behavior is most important, so you have to look closely. So I already open up this lab, okay, and I will come to it in a minute. So before going to explain more and before going to dive deeper, this warning as always for you that this video and its contents are only for educational purpose and I do not support any unethical or illegal act. So that's been said, let's go and see what we have here. Consider an application that uses tracking cookies to gather analytics about usage. Requests to the application include a cookie header like this. So suppose you have a request. Once you get the request, you will find that there is a cookie and inside cookie there is a parameter tracking ID. Fine. And this tracking ID is vulnerable to blind SQL injection. So when a request containing a tracking ID cookie is processed, the application determines whether this is a known user using an SQL query like this. Once in the request you have the tracking ID cookie, that means the application first checking whether you are the authorized user to make that request or not. So its request is something like this. So it is going to query this request in the backend. So select tracking ID from tracked user where tracking ID is equal to this. So this query is vulnerable to SQL injection because if you can see that this tracking ID value is this, and after that we can put some comment and we can, after putting single quote, we can add other query. So this query is actually vulnerable to SQL injection, but the result from the query are not returned to the user. However, the application does behave differently depending on whether the query returned any data. If returns data because recognized tracking ID was submitted, then a welcome back message is displayed within the page. As you can see here, it's displayed here. That means the tracking ID is correct for the particular user. So if I go to inspect and if I go to the storage, so you can see there is tracking ID. I tested this before, so that's why I add this, but this is actual value for the tracking ID, right? So to test that application whether it is vulnerable to SQL injection or not, let's try to manipulate this tracking ID value. So I'm going to just put single quote and I'm going to use AND operator, because and if you put any condition with AND operator, that means both of those conditions must be true to get the required result. So if I say and 1 equal to 1, and rest of the query is going to be commented, and hit enter, then refresh the page. So as you can see, welcome back message is there. But if I say 1 equal to 2, which is not correct, and if I refresh this page, you can see there is no welcome back message, but rest of the page is rendering and we are not getting any invalid query or something like this. We are not getting any error. Page is rendering, everything is okay, but we just did not get the welcome back message. So this is a suspicious behavior of the application, which tell us that this application is actually vulnerable to SQL injection, but the type of the SQL injection vulnerability is blind SQL injection, right? So the next thing is, if we get okay, the application is vulnerable to blind SQL, and here if we put, instead of and, if we put or operator, so it will give us welcome back message, because up to here the tracking ID is correct and this is not correct. So in or operator, any of one request must be true. So if I say enter and refresh the page, and you can see here we will get the welcome back message. So we should not use or operator, because if we use or operator, it will not give us the correct result. Fine. So come here and we will go further. So the first of these value will cause the query to return result, because as you can see here, 1 is equal to 1 is the true statement, so we are getting welcome back message. But if we say 1 is equal to 2, which is wrong statement, so in case of AND operator, true, one condition is true, another condition is false, it will give us the wrong condition. So in the second payload we will not get the welcome back message. Fine. So now this is confirmed that the application is vulnerable to blind SQL injection. Now we need to find out the table name and then the columns and the username. So for example, suppose there is a table called users with the columns usernames and passwords, and a user called administrator. So we can systematically determine the password for this user by sending a series of input to test the password one character at a time, right? Okay. So in this way, with this query, you can get the password for the username for the user administrator. You get the password. But before this, we need to test whether users table exists or not, and within users table administrator user exists or not. Fine. Then after confirming that administrator user is there and users table is there, we will go to check the password length. Then after checking the password length, we will try to get the password. So this is gonna be the whole condition. Fine. So come back here. I just want to refresh the page so that this lab is not expired for us. Come here, we will see the agenda. So this lab contains a blind SQL injection vulnerability. The application uses a tracking cookie for analytics and performs a SQL query containing the value of the submitted cookie. So the result of the SQL query are not returned and no error messages are displayed, because this is blind SQL injection, right? But the application includes a welcome back message in the page if the query returns any row. So the database contains a different table called users. Within the table, we have two columns, which is username and password, and we need to exploit this blind SQL injection vulnerability to find the password for the user administrator. And to solve the lab, we need to log in as administrator. So I already got the password for this user administrator, but how I get this, that I will show you in a minute. because I'm using the Burp Suite Community Edition, so it will take a lot of time and it is going to take ages to bring out this password. So I will use this. I will show you how I get this password, but I will not show you the whole process running by Burp Suite. I will show you how I get it. So let's go. So the first thing is first part is identifying blind SQL injection vulnerability, triggering the conditional. Fine. Then the second part, what we will do is check the table name, which is users. We will check whether this table exists or not. Then we will check administrator user exists or not. Fine. Then we will check length of the password, and then we will try to retrieve the password using substring. Fetch the password from DB for administrator user, right? Okay, so we will follow these all the steps. So I already open up the Burp Suite, so I'm going to enable Burp Suite on my browser, and I'm not gonna take these. Just hit enter, close it, and let's refresh the page, or say home page, so that we get here in our history. So now we can see both simultaneously. So this is going to be our request. As you can see here, there is tracking ID. I'm going to send this request to the repeater. Come here to the repeater, send this request, and we get the response, and we need to see whether in this response we have welcome back message or not. So as you can see, welcome back message is there. Now we need to test the blind SQL injection. So I'm going to put here a single quote, then and let's say 1 is equal to 1, and comment with 2 dashes. Now send this request again, and as you can see, we have one match for welcome back message here. Now if I say 1 equal to 2, which make this condition wrong, and we are using AND operator, that means the condition is wrong and we will not get welcome back message, right? So that means this is vulnerable to blind SQL injection. Now instead of 1 is equal to 1, what is next? We need to check whether the table users exist or not. So we will say select, let's say A from users, okay, and this is equal to, let's say, A, and I'm going to make this payload in URL encode. So Control U and hit enter, and as you can see, we are not getting any welcome back message, because here we need to limit it to 1. Now let's try again. We need to again convert it into the URL, hit enter, and yeah, we got the welcome back message. Now what's happening here, I'm saying select a from users limit up to 1, and this is equal to a. So a is, if the user table exists, it will print a, it will give us a, and a is equal to a means this condition is true, and if the condition is true we get one match of welcome back message, right? Suppose now if I say user, instead of users I say select a from table user limit 1 a is equal to a, which is going to be user a, and as you can see we did not get any message because user a does not exist. If I say just usr send again, and 0 matches means usr table does not exist, but user table exist and users table also exist. If I put one more s, let's see. So as you can see this table does not exist. That means users and user both table exist. Now let's try to see here. It's saying there is a table users. Fine. So users exist. Let's try use. No, not exist. Fine. So that means user table exist. I'm going to take this with me, copy, come here. So we check it, and this is going to be the query. So instead of plus is actually space from users limit space 1. This is gonna be equal to sign. That's it. So this is the first query with which we confirm that users table exists. Now we need to find out whether the administrator user exists in this table or not. So what we need to do here is we just need to change a bit. Select username, okay, from users, and where username is equal to administrator. Fine. Now we need to again select this and Control U to make it URL encode and send this request again. Matches 0, we did not get welcome back message. That means the condition is false. Now we need to see why the condition is false. Okay, let's first create, copy, come here, paste. Instead of this we are going to put the column name, which is username from users table, where username is equal to administrator. Fine. So I'm going to take this query, copy, come back to Burp Suite, and we are going to put it up to here. Paste that, and now we are going to encode it with URL. So Control U, hit enter now, and still the condition is false. Why the condition is false? Because it's saying give me username from users table where username is equal to administrator. So if the username administrator exists, it will give us the answer administrator, but we are checking here a. So administrator string is not equal to a. So here we need to mention administrator, right? So come here, let's say administrator equal to administrator, and yeah, we got one match. That means the condition is true and administrator user exists. That's why the result of this query is administrator, and which is equal to administrator. Fine. So we check now that the administrator user exists. Now we need to see the password of the administrator. So before going to fetch or retrieve the password for the administrator, we need to see the length of the password. So come here. Actually, I'm going to create the query again here. So copy, come here, paste that. So this query is okay, but I'm going to put here and length of the password, let's say, is greater than 10. Okay, so actually this query, again, this subquery contains two conditions. One is it is going to say give me the username from the users table where the username is equal to administrator. So this condition is true because administrator is there, so it will give us result administrator. And also check one more condition, which is length of the password is greater than 10 or not. So if both of these conditions are true, only then it will give us the true response and we will get the welcome back message. So take this query, copy, come back here, and we need to put it up to here, paste. Now again we need to encode it, URL encode. So Control U and hit enter, send this request, and we have welcome back message. Now we need to check again whether it's more than 20 or not. So just specify here length of the password is more than 20, send again, and we got zero response, zero match, sorry. That means this make this condition false. So let's try more than 15 and send. So more than 16, more than 15 is a true condition, so it's giving us welcome back message. Let's try more than 18. Yes, up to now we get welcome back message. It means the length of the password is more than 18. Let's try more than 19. Yeah, more than 19. But once I say more than 20 and send, it's saying no, not more than 20. It's more than 19 but not more than 20. So that means it's equal to 20. And hit enter, send this, and as you can see it gives us the match. If I say is equal to 21, and it will not give us the welcome back message because it's equal to 20, not 21. Fine, so that's correct, and I am going to copy this, come here, paste it, and let's say equal to 20. So the password length is 20. Now we need to fetch or retrieve the password from the database for user administrator from the users table, and for that we will use substrings. This query is actually going to seem like this. So instead of username, I am going to say substring, and let's say password comma 1. So the column name is password and first character of the password from up to first character from users table where username is equal to administrator, and we don't need now this. Fine, and this is going to be, now we know that user administrator exists. Now we are not matching this result to this condition, we are matching the password's first character, right, and up to first. So let's say A. So I'm going to say select password's first character from users table where username is equal to administrator. So it will take the administrator password first character, if it is A or not. If it is A, the condition is true. If it is not A, the condition is false. So I'm going to take this, copy, come back to the burp suite, and I'm going to put it up to here and select up to here and Control U for URL encode and just hit enter. And as you can see, 0 match means we did not get welcome back message. That means the first character of the administrator password is not A. Substring, fine. So we can test it in another way, right? With, let's say, we will say greater than C or greater than B. So copy this, paste it here, and we will say that the password first character is greater than A or not. So come here, A, send it, and yes, it's greater than A. The first character of the password for administrator is greater than A. Let's try G. Yeah, it's greater than G. So let's try M and send it again. So it's not greater than M because the condition is false now. So let's say K, greater than K, condition is false. Greater than J, condition is false. Greater than K, condition is false. Greater than I, condition is true. Greater than J, condition is false. Why? Because it's equal to J, and we get the welcome back message. So the first character of the password is J. Now what you need to do is send this request to the repeater, come back here, send the request to the intruder, come back to the intruder, clear all the positions, come here, and instead of J, let's put here A and select it, then add it in the first position. Payload, I need payload brute forcer and 1, 1, right? And one more thing, what you need to do, we already know that the first character is J, so we will test it here. Now payload is okay. Go to the options, come here, add, and we need to see if welcome back message is there in the response or not. Okay, and then start the attack. So this is checking for the first position, right? And we already know it's J. So I just wanna make sure that we are working fine and pause it. So as you can see, this one contains welcome back message and the value is J. So that means the first character of the password is J. Similarly, what you need to do is come here, and now let's try to find out the second position. Sorry, close this, discard, come to the repeater. So first is J, first character is J, now second character. So let's try A and send it to the intruder again. Come to the intruder, position, sniper, clear all these, and just for the second character select A, add it in the first position, go to the payload, again brute forcer, minimum length is 1, maximum length is 1, and options, in the options grep extract, come here and just add this welcome back message. Okay, and start the attack. So let's see now if for the second position what we got. And as you can see here, pause it. So the second character of the password for administrator is F, right? So because I already take this password, so as you can see here, first character is J and second character is F. But if you do it like that, it will take so much time. So I will prefer you one more way, which is cluster bomb. So go to the repeater and send this request to the intruder. Come here, position, attack type, choose the cluster bomb so that you can choose both of the parameters simultaneously. Clear all these. Let's say instead of 2, put 1 and choose this one, add it as the first position. Come back here and choose this A as the second position. Now go to the payload. For the first position payload, we need numbers. So it will increase 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, like this. So from 1 to 20, and go forward with one step. So it will put 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 20. Now for the second payload, we need brute forcer, and step minimum length is 1, maximum length is 1, and go to the options. In the grep exec, you need to choose welcome back. Okay, and just start the attack. Although I am using community edition, so it takes so many hours, because in community edition the intruder works very slowly, and as you can see, total number of requests here, so it will take too much time, but we can bear with that. So that's why I already fetched this password by running Python script. In the next video, I will write a Python script for retrieving this password using blind SQL injection. Fine. So as you can see, we get first welcome back message. On the third position, you can see on the third position, the third character is B. So you can see here the third character is B. Fine. So the first more welcome back. Where is welcome back? Up to now we just get one welcome back message. That's it. Similarly, you need to wait for some hours and you will get the exact password what I have here. But maybe once you do the lab, you will get different password from this, right? So don't worry about this. Now to solve the lab, we just need to log in as administrator. So go to my account, administrator, and the password is gonna be this. So copy, come back, paste it here, hit enter, and we are logged in as administrator. And if we come back to intruder, up to now we just get one welcome back message on third position. So that's it for this video. If you like the content, please like, subscribe and share. It is going to take ages, but if you want to do it fast, you can also use Zap proxy from OWASP, and it is much faster than Burp Suite in terms of fuzzing or intruding. See you in the next video, and if you have any query, please put your query in the comment section. I will try to reply as soon as possible. See you in the next video. Bye.